says something here very, very scary. Says the Gemara in Ida, in page 13a. And it's also in the Midrash Hagadol, Parashat Vayeshev. Rabbi Yochanan says like this: somebody who weighs seed deserves the death in the hands of heaven. That's not something like, all right, whatever, I'll do tshuva, I'll do it. This is something that you better do tshuva soon. Death in the hands of heaven is not a light matter. Rabbi Yitzchak says, same Imam, that it's considered as if he spilled blood. The Zohar says that this is even worse than murder. Why is this worse than murder? Usually when you're murdering, let's say usually you're not murdering, but if someone murders, they're usually murdering somebody else's children. Here you're murdering your own children. These are your own children, your own souls that should be coming onto this world, and you're destroying them. Rav Ashi says also that it's considered as if somebody worshipped Avodah Zarah, idolatry. Where do we know that you're not allowed to have immoral thoughts? There's a pasuk in Dvarim, in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 10. When it says over there, when a camp goes out against your enemies, you shall beware of everything evil. Says the Gemara in Ketuvot, page 46a, that what does it say? That you should guard yourself from all evil. Pinchas ben Yair says that one should not think immoral thoughts during the day, because that's what comes out at night. Guess what's going to happen at night? That's what it's going to lead to. Which means is that there are many people, unfortunately, that they have wet dreams, nocturnal emissions. Now, sometimes it could be because of a position and that, but many times it could be because of the thoughts that you're thinking during the day. What are you watching during the day? What are you looking at during the day? What are the thoughts that you're thinking during the day? And this could lead to that sin as well. You know how there's like radio waves like everywhere? There's spiritual energy everywhere. And if somebody goes and sins in this particular sin, he cannot perceive to the spiritual energy. The more one keeps himself purified from this energy, the more from this sin, the more he can perceive the spiritual energy in it. And we know that there is a spiritual flow of blessing that comes to you. Now, every time you sin, you get a sort of klipa, you get a sort of a shell that's preventing the blessing from coming to you. But says the Baal Tanya, it says that none of it is as strong as a sin of wasting seed. The transgression of wasting seed blocks does the most damage in this aspect. And it says the Zohar something very scary. It says that there's no sin in the world which provokes the anger of God as damage as this sin. Which means there's like a top of the sin, you don't want to be there. And this is one of the worst sins that you can do. The Zohar says further that besides being the most severe, it is very, very, very difficult to do repentance on this. So don't be like, okay, I'll do this and then I'll do the repentance on it. And we're going to speak about repentance B'ezrat Hashem next week and how to fix it, but it's something that is extremely, extremely severe, and I cannot emphasize this enough. We know that the generation of the flood, they got punished with what? With warm water, with hot boiling water. Why? Because one of the sins that they did, and what the Zohar says that why was their sin sealed for? Because the sin of wasting seed. They put their seed on the ground because of the warm seed that came out of them went on the ground. That's why the world was punished with warm fluid, measure for measure, the same matter. And the Zohar says also if somebody dies without doing tshuva on this sin, he gets thrown to Gehenna, he gets thrown to hell forever. That's the guy's not coming out. This is like, this is where you're talking about, like, this is not a sin, like, oops, okay, I'm sorry, it's not, there is tshuva, we'll speak about it, but this is something that the Zohar speaks very, very strongly against, and the halacha speaks very, very strongly against.
Could you ever do tshuva if you did it like a million times?
Yeah, we're going to speak about the B'ezrat Hashem. That's going to be next week. We're going to go through all the details on how to do repentance and tikkunim for this, and how to get all that spiritual blessing back. The Kav Yashar in the 70th chapter says that demons, how do they derive sustenance? From this. So every time that somebody weighs seed, think about it this way. There's like demons that are just like milking up all that spiritual energy. And then you're just like you're like, here, my children, feed, feast. And then you're growing this army that they're not like, long live king, whatever your name is, right? Long live. They're not doing that. They're like, let's destroy this guy. Let's take him apart and destroy every single blessing that he could possibly have in his life. That's what you're feeding them.